Afghanistan, long recognized as the graveyard of empires, has once again become the center of a complex geopolitical chessboard. The Taliban's return to power in August 2021, following the chaotic withdrawal of US and NATO forces, has redefined the regional and global dynamics surrounding this war-torn country. With the Taliban now grappling with the challenges of governance, international isolation, and resistance from within, the role of neighboring countries like Pakistan and influential powers such as China and Russia has become increasingly pivotal. Here in this episode, we critically examine the Taliban's return to power, its strained relations with Pakistan, and the strategic interests of international players like China and Russia. Before we proceed, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Sociopedia. Taliban's swift return to power was a culmination of decades of insurgency against foreign occupation and the fragile Afghan state. Their victory was not solely a testament to their military resilience, but also to the failure of the US-led coalition to establish a sustainable political and governance framework in Afghanistan. The abrupt US withdrawal, coupled with the lack of coordination with the Afghan government, created a power vacuum that the Taliban were quick to exploit. However, the Taliban of 2021 faced a vastly different Afghanistan compared to their first reign between 1996 to 2001. The population is younger, urbanized, and less tolerant of their extreme policies, particularly regarding women's rights and individual freedoms. The group's promises of a more moderate rule have largely been contradicted by their policies, such as banning women from education and employment. This internal repression has aggravated Afghanistan's isolation from the international community, depriving the Taliban regime of the recognition and aid needed to stabilize the country. On the other side, Pakistan has historically played a central role in the Taliban's rise, providing support and safe havens to their leadership during the insurgency. However, since the Taliban's return to power, the relationship between Pakistan and Afghanistan has soured. The reasons for this shift are multidimensional, including, number 1, TTP factor. The Tehrik-i-Taliban Pakistan, an offshoot of the Afghan Taliban, has escalated its attacks against the Pakistani state. Despite Pakistan's expectations that the Taliban regime would curb the TTP, Kabul has shown little willingness or capability to do so. This has strained Pakistan's security and heightened tensions along the Durand Line. Number 2, border disputes. The Taliban's refusal to recognize the Durand Line as the official border between Afghanistan and Pakistan has led to frequent skirmishes and diplomatic confrontations. Number 3, economic challenges. Pakistan, grappling with its own economic crisis, has struggled to support Afghanistan economically. This has further weakened their traditionally close ties. Pakistan's frustrations reflect its diminishing influence over the Taliban, a stark departure from the dynamic that existed during the insurgency years. Islamabad's initial hopes of using a Taliban-led Afghanistan as a strategic ally against India have largely been unrealized. China's strategic calculations in Afghanistan give another dimension to Afghanistan's geopolitical chessboard. China's engagement with Afghanistan has been shaped by its long-term strategic interests, including Afghanistan's vast untapped mineral resources, specifically rare earth elements critical for modern technology. However, security concerns and the Taliban's limited governance capabilities have hindered Beijing's ability to capitalize on these resources fully. China's primary concern is the potential spillover of extremism into its Xinjiang region. Beijing has sought assurances from the Taliban that Afghan territory will not be used by Uyghur separatist groups, particularly the East Turkestan Islamic movement. Equally, Afghanistan is a critical piece in China's Belt and Road Initiative, offering a potential route for connecting Central Asia with South Asia. However, the lack of security and infrastructure poses significant challenges to integrating Afghanistan into this vision. China has adopted a pragmatic approach, engaging with the Taliban while avoiding formal recognition. This allows Beijing to safeguard its interests without fully committing to the risks of deeper involvement in Afghanistan's volatile politics. Indeed, Russia has also taken a cautious but active interest in Afghanistan following the Taliban's return to power. For Moscow, Afghanistan represents both an opportunity and a challenge. Afghanistan shares borders with several Central Asian states that are part of Russia's sphere of influence. The Kremlin fears that instability in Afghanistan could spill over into these states, undermining regional security and its own influence. While Russia has hosted Taliban delegations and sought to build ties, it remains cautious of the group's ability to govern effectively and control extremist factions within Afghanistan. Altogether, Moscow's strategy in Afghanistan is closely tied to its broader geopolitical rivalry with the West. However, its own involvement in Ukraine has limited its capacity to focus on Afghanistan, leaving a gap that other powers, particularly China, are seeking to fill. In fact, Afghanistan's geopolitical significance extends beyond its immediate neighbors. The vacuum left by the U.S. withdrawal has intensified the competition among regional and global powers. India, which had invested heavily in Afghanistan's infrastructure and development during the previous government, has been sidelined by the Taliban's return. New Delhi remains suspicious of the Taliban's ties to Pakistan and the potential for increased militancy in Kashmir. By and large, Afghanistan's geopolitical chessboard remains a volatile and unpredictable arena. The broader international community, meanwhile, remains divided on how to engage with the Taliban regime, torn between principles of human rights and pragmatic concerns about security and regional stability. Thanks for watching. Do subscribe to our channel, Sociopedia.